Nobody knows this yet. Not really. They may have seen your face. They may have heard your voice. They may have stood next to you, laughed with you, spoken to you, judged you, underestimated you, even loved the version of you that was easiest for them to understand. But they do not know this yet. They do not know what has been building inside you. They do not know how many nights you spent in silence, rearranging your thoughts while the rest of the world was busy performing certainty. They do not know how many times you had to pull yourself back together without applause, without rescue, without some dramatic hand reaching down from the sky to tell you everything would be fine. They do not know how much you have been carrying quietly. And maybe that is why I have to tell you now. Because there is a difference between being unseen and being empty. There is a difference between being overlooked and being finished. There is a difference between silence and absence. And you have mistaken your silence for weakness for too long. That ends here. You have spent so much of your life trying to be understandable to people who were never trying to understand you. You tried to make your pain sound smaller so they would not feel uncomfortable. You tried to explain your intensity in a softer voice. You tried to make your ambition less threatening. You tried to make your depth more digestible. You tried to become easier to hold, easier to label, easier to place inside the neat little boxes that make other people feel safe. And every time you did that, something in you dimmed. Not because you were fake. Not because you were lost. But because you were translating a language that was never meant to be reduced. Some people were built to fit. Some people were built to follow the shape of the room. Some people can survive by becoming whatever the moment asks them to become. But that was never you. Even when you tried to be small, something in you resisted. Even when you stayed quiet, your mind was still loud. Even when you played along, your spirit never fully agreed. Even when you smiled, there was a part of you watching from a distance, asking one question over and over again. How long are you going to keep pretending this is enough? That question is dangerous. Because once it becomes honest, your life can no longer continue the same way. Once you truly ask that question, you start noticing everything. You start noticing which conversations drain you, which places make you forget yourself, which people only enjoy you when you are tired, agreeable, distracted, available, and harmless. You start noticing how often you betray your own instincts just to preserve a version of peace that was never peace at all. And then something shifts. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Calmly. You stop reacting the same way. You stop chasing the same approval. You stop explaining every decision. You stop knocking on doors that have made you feel like a visitor in your own life. You stop begging to be recognized by people who have benefited from your doubt. And that is the part nobody knows yet. They do not know that the version of you they are used to is already ending. They are still speaking to who you were. Still expecting your old rhythm. Still counting on your old softness. Still assuming they understand your limits because they remember your hesitation. But hesitation is not your identity. It was only a season. There are seasons when a person gathers. Seasons when they look passive from the outside because all the movement is internal. Seasons when no one claps because no one can see the war. Seasons when your greatest work is invisible because it is happening in your thoughts, in your standards, in your boundaries, in your refusal to collapse the way others expected you to. And if you are in that season now, listen carefully. This quiet is not empty. This distance is not failure. This confusion is not the end of your clarity. This loneliness is not proof that you are broken. This discomfort is not proof that you are lost. It may be proof that you are no longer willing to live unconsciously. That matters. Because unconscious living is easy to reward. People will celebrate you when you remain predictable. They will call you kind when you overextend yourself. They will call you humble when you play down your gifts. They will call you mature when you absorb disrespect without response. They will call you strong when you carry their weight and call it love. They will call you difficult the moment you begin to choose yourself with precision. So understand this now before it surprises you later. Not everyone wants your growth. Some people only want your availability. Some people only want the version of you they could control, or read, or lean on without consequence. Some people call it connection when what they really mean is access. And once you understand that, you stop taking certain things personally. You stop feeling guilty for going quiet. You stop apologizing for becoming harder to reach. You stop mistaking constant contact for true closeness. You stop assuming that anyone who misses you actually values you. Missing your presence and respecting your becoming are not the same thing. There are people who miss the convenience of your old self. People who miss how easy you were to emotionally borrow from. People who miss being able to interrupt your peace with their chaos. People who miss the unfinished version of you because it made them feel more comfortable with their own refusal to evolve. Let them miss it. That version of you has done enough. You are not here to remain lovable at the cost of your own alignment. You are not here to be universally understood. You are not here to make yourself ordinary just because your truth makes shallow people nervous. You are not here to spend another year leaking your strength into rooms that do not know what to do with it. You are here for something quieter than performance and stronger than approval. You are here to become real. And becoming real is not glamorous. IT does not always look inspiring. Sometimes it looks like losing interest in the things that once distracted you. Sometimes it looks like leaving conversations early in your mind long before your body leaves the room. Sometimes it looks like being deeply tired of pretending. Sometimes it looks like not knowing exactly who you are becoming, only knowing with absolute certainty that who you were can no longer continue. That is enough. That knowing is enough. You do not need a full map to stop walking in the wrong direction. You do not need public confirmation to trust a private awakening. You do not need everyone to understand your shift in order for it to be real. You do not need to explain your soul to people who only speak surface. What you need is honesty. Real honesty. Not the polished kind. Not the kind that sounds good in public. The kind that changes the decisions you make when no one is watching. The kind that asks you whether you are truly living in a way that respects your own mind. The kind that forces you to admit how much of your life has been built around anticipation of other people's reactions. The kind that shows you how often fear has worn the mask of patience. The kind that strips away all the language you use to delay your own becoming. You have said later when you meant, I am scared. You have said, I'm thinking about it, when you meant, I already know. You have said, I just need more time, when in truth you needed more courage. You have called yourself confused when what you really were was divided between instinct and comfort. And comfort has a voice, convincing one. T tells you to wait, to soften, or keep the peace, to avoid the difficult conversation, to stay where you are known. Even if you are shrinking there, to preserve your place in a room that does not deserve the full weight of your presence. But there comes a point where comfort starts sounding like disrespect, a point where delaying your own truth becomes unbearable, a point where the price of staying the same becomes greater than the fear of changing. That point is sacred. That point changes people. Maybe you are there now. Maybe that is why this is reaching you the way it is. Maybe something in you is tired of being half expressed. Maybe something in you is tired of watching your life from behind glass. Maybe something in you has finally become too awake to settle for another round of performative peace. Then listen carefully. Your life will not transform the moment you are understood. IT will transform the moment you stop negotiating with what you already know. You know who drains you. You know where you become smaller. You know which habits keep you fragmented. You know which environments reward your numbness and punish your aliveness. You know which version of yourself has to end. The question is not whether you know. The question is whether you will act like you know. Because knowledge without movement becomes its own kind of suffering. You can feel it. That tension, that heaviness, that quiet frustration of seeing clearly and still living as if you are blind. That is one of the most painful places a person can live in. Not ignorance. Not failure. Awareness without action. It eats at you slowly. IT makes ordinary days feel strangely exhausting. IT makes small conversations feel unbearable. IT makes even rest feel incomplete because your spirit knows there is something unresolved beneath the surface. That unresolved thing is often not a mystery. IT is a decision. A decision you have delayed because it might disappoint someone, a decision you have postponed because it might expose how much you have changed, a decision you have kept in the dark because once you admit it, your old life loses its right to continue untouched. And that is exactly why it matters. Anything strong enough to threaten your false peace is probably close to the truth. You do not need to become aggressive to become clear. You do not need to become cruel to become free. You do not need to destroy yourself to rebuild your life. You need calm. Real calm. the kind that does not beg, the kind that does not announce itself with noise, the kind that can look directly at a painful truth and still remain steady, the kind that can walk away without needing the last word, the kind that can disappoint people without collapsing into guilt, the kind that understands that inner authority rarely needs theatrical force. Calm is not passivity. Calm is controlled power. It is the ability to know exactly what is happening without surrendering your center to it. It is the ability to feel deeply without becoming emotionally available to every disturbance. It is the ability to hear disrespect and still choose dignity. It is the ability to recognize chaos without volunteering to manage it. That kind of calm changes everything. Because once you have it, people can no longer pull you as easily. They can no longer bait you into proving yourself. They can no longer manipulate your need to be seen as good. They can no longer rely on your confusion. They can no longer use your empathy as an entry point to your exhaustion. And the world will notice. Not immediately. Not all at once. But it will notice. People always notice when your energy becomes less negotiable. They notice when your silence is no longer wounded, but chosen. They notice when your kindness no longer means unlimited access. They notice when your softness develops structure. They notice when you stop performing concern for things that are beneath your attention. They notice when your presence becomes more measured, more deliberate, more complete. Some will respect it. Some will fear it. Some will resent it. Some will call you changed as if it is an accusation. Let them. You were supposed to change. What would be tragic is not that you changed. What would be tragic is if you stayed the same after all you have survived. After all you have seen. After all you have learned in the dark. After all the moments that shattered your illusions and forced you to see people, life, and yourself with greater precision. You did not go through all of that just to return to unconscious living. You did not survive all that pressure just to remain emotionally available to nonsense. You did not gather all this awareness just to keep asking permission to become who you already are. No. Something else is being asked of you now. Not performance. Not urgency. Not another dramatic promise that fades by morning. What is being asked of you is steadiness. A steadier mind, a steadier standard, a steadier relationship with your own truth. Because the life you want is not built in emotional spikes. It is built in deep, repeated alignment. It is built by choosing what respects your mind. It is built by refusing what fragments your peace. It is built by becoming trustworthy to yourself. That last part matters more than most people understand. Can you trust yourself? Not your intentions. Not your image. Not your words when you feel inspired. Can you trust the way you move when the moment gets uncomfortable? Can you trust yourself to leave what you know is wrong? Can you trust yourself to stay silent when explanation would only waste your energy? Can you trust yourself to disappoint the right people? Can you trust yourself to protect what is sacred in you instead of offering it up to every room in exchange for temporary acceptance? If not, that is where the work begins. Not with the world. With you. Because a person who cannot trust themselves will always remain vulnerable to noise. They will always seek one more opinion point, one more sign point, one more reassurance point, one more round of permission from people who have never carried the cost of their hesitation. But once self-trust begins, something profound happens. You become less movable, less easily seduced by attention, less easily shaken by rejection, less tempted to abandon your deeper knowing just because the room gets uncomfortable. You begin to understand that peace is not found by pleasing the world. Peace is found by no longer betraying yourself to survive it. And maybe that is the truth nobody knows yet. Maybe nobody knows yet how close you are to becoming unrecognizable in the most beautiful way. Maybe nobody knows yet that your quiet is no longer emptiness, but preparation. Maybe nobody knows yet that your mind has already crossed into a place your old life cannot follow. Maybe nobody knows yet that what they think is your distance is actually your discipline. Let them be late to the realization. They do not need to know before you do. Too many people waste years trying to announce their transformation before they have lived it. They speak in declarations. They market their becoming. They perform their healing. They package their pain into language that sounds powerful but costs them nothing to say. You do not need that. You do not need to speak your next life into every room. You need to protect it long enough to build it. There is power in privacy. There is strength in letting your roots deepen before anyone sees the tree. There is wisdom in allowing your actions to introduce you after your words have stayed silent. Not everything sacred needs witnesses. Not everything important should be exposed to opinion. Not everything real needs to be shared early. Some things grow better in silence. This version of you may be one of them. So stop panicking just because the process is quiet. Stop assuming that because no one sees it, nothing is happening. Stop confusing invisibility with irrelevance. A seed underground looks like nothing to people who only respect surfaces. But underground is where the pressure works. Underground is where the shape changes. Underground is where the first silent commitments are made. Underground is where something fragile becomes strong enough to break through concrete. Do not despise hidden seasons. They build durable people. There are people who look impressive because they are visible. And there are people who become undeniable because they were willing to be hidden long enough to become real. Be the second kind. Let others chase quick recognition. Let others panic when they are not noticed. Let others leak their plans in search of validation. You stay with the work. You stay with the truth. You stay with the quiet correction of your habits, your standards, your relationships, your mind. That is how a person changes their life without spectacle. That is how someone becomes powerful without becoming loud. That is how you step into a new identity without asking the old world to approve of it. And there will be moments when it feels unfair. Moments when you wonder why others can live so casually while you feel everything so deeply. Moments when you question whether awareness is worth the cost. Moments when being conscious feels heavier than being asleep ever did. In those moments, remember this. Depth has a cost, but so does shallowness. Awareness has a burden, but so does denial. Becoming has a loneliness, but so does betrayal. Choose your cost carefully, because you will pay something either way. You will either pay with the discomfort of growth or the slow decay of avoidance. You will either pay by facing yourself now or by losing yourself gradually. You will either pay with temporary loneliness or permanent self-abandonment. One of those paths hurts cleanly. The other hurts forever. Choose the clean pain. Choose the honest pain. Choose the pain that leaves you more whole. Choose the pain that teaches you where your real life begins. Because your real life will not begin when everyone applauds. It will begin when you decide that inner coherence matters more than external comfort. It will begin when you realize that peace is expensive and worth every boundary. It will begin when you stop handing your nervous system over to people who have done nothing to earn access to it. It will begin when you stop trying to make your life legible to those who only understand performance. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not lost because your path does not look obvious. You are not broken because your old desires no longer excite you. You are not wrong because the crowd does not understand your shift. You may simply be arriving. Arriving at the point where your life finally demands your full participation. Arriving at the point where your excuses no longer satisfy you. Arriving at the point where your potential starts to feel less like a fantasy and more like a responsibility. Arriving at the point where you understand that a meaningful life is not found. It is chosen, protected, built, repeated, lived. And that choice is not made once. It is made in the morning when you decide what kind of mind you will carry into the day. It is made in your relationships when you decide what is allowed near your heart. It is made in your habits when you choose between numbing and becoming. It is made in your language when you stop speaking about your future like it belongs to somebody else. It is made in private, again and again, until your life begins to reflect the decisions your spirit has already made. That is when everything changes. Not all at once, but deeply. And one day, people will notice. They will notice that you do not explain as much, that your eyes hold a different kind of stillness, that your energy is calmer, but harder to move, that your words are fewer, but clearer, that your presence no longer asks for permission. They will feel that something is different before they can name it. They will sense that you are no longer available for the old patterns. They will realize that your silence is weight now. They will understand too late that while they were treating you like a temporary version, you were becoming permanent within yourself. And maybe then they will say they never saw it coming. But you will know. You will know this did not happen suddenly. You will know how many invisible decisions built this. You will know how much restraint it took, how much honesty, how much distance, how much letting go, how much quiet rebuilding. You will know that this was not luck. This was alignment. You will know that what looked like withdrawal was refinement, that what looked like isolation was preparation, that what looked like the end was the first truthful beginning you had ever allowed yourself to live. And when that day comes, do not become arrogant, do not become cruel, do not become obsessed with being seen. Stay calm. Stay close to what made this transformation possible. The stillness, the clarity, the refusal to betray yourself, the willingness to lose what cannot follow you, the discipline to build in silence, the trust to honor what the world did not yet recognize. Stay there, because that is where your real power lies, not in proving people wrong, not in making them regret underestimating you, not in finally becoming impossible to ignore. Those things may happen, but they are not the point. The point is that you become someone you no longer have to abandon in order to belong. The point is that you create a life your nervous system can rest inside. The point is that your inner world becomes a place of truth instead of negotiation. The point is that you finally stop living against yourself. And that, more than applause, more than status, more than recognition, is the kind of victory that changes everything. Nobody knows this yet. But I had to tell you. Because maybe you needed to hear that your silence has not been wasted, that your hidden season has not been meaningless, that your distance is not always damage, that your calm can become a weapon against confusion, that your life is not over because your old self is falling away. Maybe you needed to hear that becoming is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. Maybe you needed to hear that the world's delay in recognizing you is not proof that nothing is happening. Maybe you needed to hear that what is sacred in you deserves protection, not constant exposure. Maybe you needed to hear that the next version of your life may already be closer than it looks. So do not rush now, do not panic, do not explain too much, do not return to old rooms out of guilt, do not offer your clarity to people committed to misunderstanding. I tell you, do not mistake the quiet for failure, do not cheapen what is growing by demanding early proof. Just keep going. Keep refining. Keep choosing what respects your mind. Keep walking away from what disturbs your soul. Keep your standards. Keep your peace. Keep your word to yourself. Keep building what nobody knows yet. And when the time comes, you will not need to announce who you have become. Your life will say it for you.